Good afternoon, YouTubers. Tsquare here with Tsquare Talks. So it is Tuesday. Got some exciting stuff I kind of wanted to talk about tonight. I always try to find out what I'm going to be talking about kind of the day before. I don't really have a set schedule. I just know right now I'm doing live shows every Tuesday and Thursday night. I usually just kind of roll with it and try to figure out before the show what I want to do my show on and what we're going to talk about. However, I got lucky today and I actually got a phone call from somebody that is actually invested in precious metals, like a lot of us in the community. And the question came up, hey, how much gold or silver should I have? Now, this is a question I got to say I've heard a million. Maybe not a million, I'm exaggerating, but there's a lot of videos where people have said, well, how much gold, how much silver should I have? What's the right amount? How much should I be? What percent gold, what percent silver? What percent of my investment should be in precious metals? Now, this is not financial advice by no means. This is just kind of my opinion and what I think about it and how I kind of view it. There's an old saying, be your own bank. Some people may have heard of that. Some of you may have not heard of that. However, be your own bank means not just loan yourself your money, but a lot of it has to do, in my opinion, of watching how you borrow your money, what percent interest, if you can, pay down your higher interest rates, save your money in the form of precious metals, kind of like the banks. A lot of banks like to invest in precious metals, and I kind of believe that people should too. Now, that is just my personal opinion, but everybody's going to have their own opinion, so we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that tonight. Before we jump in, as always, I like to thank the people that are watching the show live. So we've only got a couple people jumped in. I'm running a little bit late tonight because I was having issues with my computer. I've been trying to start up at 8 o'clock. However, it's going on 8:15 now. So I do apologize for running late. I see we got Jimmy first in the room. How's it going, Jimmy? Hope you're having a good night. We got DGL3. What is up? Bro, I remember meeting you in COD Black Ops 3 lobby. I was probably doing horrible, but yes, I have played it a little bit with my son. A lot of people like to tease me, and they try to get me instead of no firearms. No, the only weapon they could use is knives, essentially. So it was a bad experience, I guess, for me. I was getting destroyed every day in Black Ops. It wasn't my favorite game, but my son did love it, so I played it a lot with him and with other people. So it's awesome that you stopped in too and said hi. So thanks for stopping in, DGL3. Hit that thumbs up button. Help us out. I know you may not be on the whole show. But thank you for stopping in and saying hi. I love to hear from you guys, even if I don't see you on a regular basis. I know some people, they help out. They hit that subscribe button on that one video, and I'm really thankful when they do stop in and just say hi. Let me know how things are going. I've had people stop in and say, hey, I subscribed to you from some video that I posted sometime in the last 4 years. I've had people say, hey, I met you at such and such. And it's kind of cool when I see people stop in. So thank you so much for stopping in, DGL3. What is up, Chris? We got Chris B in the room. How's it going tonight? We got Scott. How's it going tonight, Scott? Hope you're having a great night. I hope everybody's having a great night. We're going to kind of jump right in. Now, like I said, this is just my thoughts on it. Everybody is going to have their own opinion on how much gold and silver you should have, what percent diversification you should have. Feel free to chime in, put in your info, what you think. If I say something, I don't always catch the comments right off, so if I don't see your comment right off, I will get to it by the end of the show for sure. I do go back and read everything. How's it going, Lincoln DMZ? Hope you're having a great night. And like I said, everybody's situation is going to be different. When it comes to gold and silver, how much you should have. What is up, Debbie Singleton? How are you? I hope you're having a great night. It's kind of going to be interesting because, like I said, everybody's on a different financial level. Some people have more money than other people. So when you get into what percent diversified should I be in precious metals, depending on who you talk to is even going to give you a different opinion. So looking around, if you're a normal financial advisor, a lot of people say you should be 5% in. We're going to take a look at some of the numbers in precious metals. But you know, it's funny because I don't think more than 5% of Americans even have any precious metals, let alone even 1 ounce of one silver eagle, one anything. There's a lot of people out there that don't have any silver in their collection at all, no gold, no nothing. And a lot of people don't understand value. I know I told a story a while back about one of my neighbors went to a place that said we buy gold, and they just thought it would be funny to bring in some old broken chains. And they walked out of there with like $1,100, $1,100 or $1,200, and they were just mind blown. They said, heck yeah, we took that. We did it as a joke. We were bored, and we didn't expect to get more than a couple $100 for it. And I'm like, wow. But that just goes to show that a lot of people are not prepared in the precious metals department. Now, higher, if you're in precious metals, like a lot of the people in the community, a lot of us would probably say 20% should be invested in precious metals, 20% of your portfolio. Depending on how serious you are, you may have a lot more allotted to that. Some of us don't believe in the dollar. We believe that the dollar is losing value on a day-to-day basis, so we would set a higher number. However, I wanted to look and see what general society or general people online would say. I did use Google questions so I could see what a lot of questions are coming up. I like to see how they answer them and what they say. Obviously, like I said, if you are in the precious metals field and you're a seller, then you're going to be a little bit biased, and you're going to want to, I don't want to say push sales, but you might set a higher percentage than the norm. However, the other thing we're also going to take a look at is, you know, how much should you have of that? So, you know, a lot of people will say you should have, first of all, an emergency fund of cash. What percent emergency fund of cash should you have? They will say, I've read everywhere from, you know, 15,000 to 6 months your income. 6 months times your monthly income. For an emergency if something bad happens. Maybe you won't have your income. I mean, this is a prime time right now that I think a lot of jobs are getting to the point where we're going to see shutdowns across America again. I really believe that's going to come. It's sad, but I believe it's going to come. A lot of people are already seeing it. Some people don't want to hear about that. They don't want to hear negativity. However, my thoughts are on that. It's not being negative to prepare. I actually told someone this the other day. I said, do you buy car insurance? Well, yeah, we have to. I said, okay, but say you didn't have to, you'd probably still buy it. Well, yeah, to protect myself. Well, nobody protects themselves, or a lot of people don't protect themselves from a major food crisis, a major economy shutdown. If we were ever to go in a Great Depression again, or something bad happen, hypothetically, let's just say the dollar don't collapse, which is a possibility it could, but let's say it did, and let's just say the economy just really tanked. I mean, you could see massive shutdowns, stock market pullbacks. You definitely wouldn't want to sell some of your stocks if the stock market just plummeted. I know you guys know I hold some electronic cryptos, not a lot. I have them through Robinhood and Trust Wallet, but when they got destroyed, well, I wasn't going to sell them. Now they're on their way back up. So, you know, there's a lot to really think about in that. And if you don't have some sort of emergency fund, you could run the risk of being in hard times. Now, getting to emergency funds, though. Not everybody holds their emergency fund in cash. And what I mean by that is when you get into silver coins, this is a beat up Silver Eagle, really badly tarnished. But I can take this and I can go get silver value easily for this. Same thing would apply if this was a gold coin. I would have no problem getting melt value for gold or silver. In some cases, you're even going to get a premium. Gold Eagles tend to fetch a higher premium. Silver Eagles tend to fetch a higher premium. However, with that being said, you sell it at a last resort, in my personal opinion. But it is an emergency fund. Now, it's an emergency fund that works two ways. Because I've had someone ask me one day, have you sold, you would sell yours? Well, yeah, if my hot water heater just went out and I need $500, $600 to put a new one in, and I don't have it in cash, I'll maybe sell a 1 ounce Gold Eagle or a 1/4 ounce Gold Eagle or some silver, maybe a couple silver bars or something like that, let's say. I still run the potential gains of it going up. It can go down, but my personal beliefs, I'm not convinced that if you buy today, when you go to sell it, unless you're buying today and selling tomorrow, there's not really a big loss in general. Unless, like I said, if you buy today and sell tomorrow, yeah, you can. Premiums can get you in a case like that. However, from what I found, buying at 16, then 17, then 20, then 23, 24. I have bought up to 28. My $28 silver, unfortunately, right now, yeah, if I sold it, I'm not going to make my money back. I might not get $28 an ounce for them. But on the flip side, everything at 16 I would have no trouble getting, because even though silver's at 24, it's still easy, in my opinion, to pull 26. 26 if you're selling to other people that are collectors. How's it going tonight, Adam Stack? I see we got Adam Stacks in the house. Hope you're having a great night. How's it going, Michael C? Hope you're having a great night, Michael. Michael is my diehard American Silver Eagle. Man, loves American Silver Eagles. Nothing else will do. Let's see. Scrolling through. The WNBA Top Shots. Yes, I heard the packs will be coming out. I didn't invest in any, only because I thought it was disorganized with the NBA Top Shots, so I didn't want to get in on this. Let's see. Debbie, I personally have most everything I need to get by with if there is a total destruction of the economy as going into a full depression, I have quite a bit of preps and ways to protect myself. You are in a extremely unique circumstance, I gotta say. A lot of general people don't have a lot of different stuff. They don't have food on hand. I've said even the CDC webpage actually says that you should have 3 to 4 weeks worth of food. They originally wanted to say 12. A lot of people don't know that. In their original statement, they said 12 weeks, which was 3 months worth of food. However, when they wanted to push that, the president at that point in time was like, I ain't getting on and telling people 3 months worth of food. So there was kind of a mutual agreement that they would just push to 3 to 4. And if people had 3 to 4, they would probably be okay, was the thinking behind it. My thoughts, you should have a couple months worth of food. And everybody thinks it's really difficult to get into that. However, I've done some prep videos. A lot of that just comes down to just buying a few extra canned goods when you go to the store. Start off small, buy stuff you need. I don't recommend people buying MREs or the high-end stuff. Do I have some Mountain Dry food or MREs, military grade, that keep forever? Yes, I do. However, it's not something I generally recommend buying. How did I get it? I got a good deal on it through an ad, and it was worth picking up. However, I do recommend to people they buy the stuff they use in bulk. I've done videos on how I buy big 40, 50-pound bags of rice, stuff that I use. Same with beans. And lately, I've been practicing. A lot of people don't practice using the stuff that they have. I'll give you a prime example, Spam. I plan on doing a video in the next couple weeks on Spam. Spam is something, up until probably a couple months, I haven't had Spam. I'll be honest. Do I carry Spam in my house? Yes. Does it keep forever? Absolutely. The can of Spam that I opened the other morning, it was literally expired by 2 years. And some people are like, oh, that's disgusting. Spam is crazy that it keeps forever. I've watched a lot of documentaries on Spam. I like to put stuff to the test. So a can of Spam, how would it taste if it was expired? Well, I experiment with a lot of stuff. And I said, you know what? It doesn't taste good plain out of the can, I'll be honest. I've seen people, friends of mine, the first time I had a Spam sandwich, they popped open a can of Spam, sliced it, put it on bread with some mayonnaise and lettuce and tomato. And it was, I won't say raw, because it is cooked in there. However, it's not that appealing. Now, I have since been working on ways to cook Spam. I take smoked brisket tallow I'll take the fat from the smoked briskets now. I will render it down until I get a nice pure, basically oil. And then I will put a little oil in the pan. Then I'll thinly slice my Spam. I'll put that in the pan, and then I'll make sandwiches with that. It tastes absolutely amazing. It gives it a nice smoked brisket flavor, even though it's Spam. Will outlive us. Exactly. Spam will probably outlive us. And it's comical because people all get disgusted if something's expired at all. Well, expiration dates most of the time are not true expiration dates. They're best by dates. And a best by date just means it's going to taste the best if you use it by that date. Well, yeah, I mean, best if you go out to your garden and you pick some fresh vegetables, those are going to taste better than anything you buy at the store. Well, yeah, they're fresher. There's no chemicals in it. There's no all the different stuff, GMOs, pesticides, all that stuff. However, you've got to find a happy medium. And people will buy stuff, including myself. I've done this. I've bought beans and rice. I'm not a big fan of beans and rice. I've made it a point to learn how to utilize the items that are big prep items, like beans and rice, Spam, in meals that just taste amazing, and you can kind of do it outside without any problems. But a lot of people don't want to focus on that, and anything that has to do with prepping or preservation of food long terms, they're just not prepared to deal with. They frown on it for some reason. If it's not fresh from the restaurant, and I kind of worry about a lot of that because, I mean, with the numbers going up, whether people believe in that or they don't believe in that, whether they believe in the vaccines or they don't believe in the vaccines, being prepared for a worst case scenario puts you in a way better spot than anybody else. Scrolling through the comments real quick, I just found out my daughter and grandson and granddaughter have the virus. I didn't want to say the actual name. Chris, hopefully it gets better for them. Hopefully they come out of it. Not everybody that gets the virus is having a worst case. The numbers we get painted sometimes are worst case scenarios. There's a lot of breakthroughs right now coming in with the virus. People that have gotten the big V shot, some of them are still having breakthroughs. So, everybody's going to have their own opinion. What is up, Friday? Hope you're having a great night. Kellen, how's it going? Hope you're having a great night. A long time no see. Definitely, it's been a little while, so it's good to see you. Bull Tide in the house. How's it going tonight, Bull Tide? Hope you're having a great night, too. I have over a year's worth of food and seeds for planting, chicken for eggs, and then a chicken poo for fertilizer. I have 175 pounds of rice. Okay, so the only problem that everybody's going to have a different amount. I don't have 175 pounds of rice in my house. The thing is, depending on how you preserve it, it's going to make a big difference. If you've got it preserved in 5-gallon buckets, you've got the oxygen absorbers, you got the Mylar bags, that is probably going to last a long time. That stuff will keep 25 years in some cases, a long ways down the road. But one of the things is to consider, if things don't happen, do you run the risk of losing food? So I've had one person that I know that said, I'm against prepping. I said, why are you against prepping? Well, my parents were Mormons, and they had tons of food, and when they passed away, I grew up older, I got older, I moved out. When they ended up passing away, I had to go over there and clean their house, and they had so much food that was all expired and old that they didn't want to throw it away. Cook span in a skillet, put it on some rice. I haven't had it on rice. Well, I have done it in cubed and fried rice, but other than that, I haven't had just spam and rice. But yeah, I bet you that would be good. It would be filling. Spam, beans, spam, eggs. That's what I had the other morning. I had spam and potatoes. So I cooked up my spam, my potatoes in bacon, in brisket fat, brisket tallow. And then I added in a can of Rotel. All items that were out of my prep inventory. The potatoes weren't. The potatoes, I had bought a bag of potatoes, but potatoes are cheap. They're almost always cheap because they grow so easy. An item that if we have transportation across the country, potatoes will probably be here. And depending on where you are, they grow good more towards the northern states, so you'll have potatoes. Tsquare, all the food supplies you're holding, you could last 12 years. I don't think 12 months. I don't know if I could last 12 years. I could hold out a little while with stuff. It ain't gonna all be the stuff that I like to eat, but it will be some good food. I mean, if I'm hungry, I always say that when people are hungry, they're gonna eat what they need to eat. It's not about flavor at that point. A lot of it is going to be about just survival and surviving. With that being said, let's jump into the show. I need to do a show just on prepping, apparently, because there's a lot of people that are into that. So I will probably do another prep video, and that we can kind of talk a lot about that. But tonight we're going to be talking a little bit on what other people are saying and what I think about how much gold to silver you should have, how much of precious metals you should have, and it's a big thing. Some people say, well, no one's going to trade if the economy goes in the garbage can. No one's going to trade food, which is the most valuable thing, food and water, for gold and silver. I don't believe that. I don't believe that because just because the economy in your area, your country is having a hard time, doesn't mean every economy in the world, which means stuff will come in. You can look at Venezuela. If someone goes out with some silver versus some Venezuelan bolivars, you're not going to have a hard time getting food. They're going to look at you first. Now, you do run the risk of becoming a target when you have that type of stuff. However, on the flip side, starving and going hungry versus maybe being a target in a week from now, I hate to say it, I'm going to take my stuff one day at a time and deal with my problem that is the most severe at the moment. So with that being said, let's jump in now. I won't be able to read everybody's comments when I am jumped over. I will come back and kind of try to get into all of them. But with that being said, let's get started in the show. Now, before I get started every night, I like to take a quick minute and thank the 6,320 subscribers to the channel. It's you guys that keep this channel growing. You guys check out some of our videos. If you're big into prepping, I highly recommend you check out some of our Prepping 101 playlist videos, whether it's interesting gardening, whether it's, preserving your basic items, to advanced items. I mean, steak. I find this interesting, this video right here, because back when I bought these steaks and preserved them, steaks were only $6.49 a pound where I'm at. These are ribeyes, $6.49. Now, I just bought some today, $8.49. So an increase of $2. Now, I know some people are like, $2 a pound ain't much. It's 20 to 25% increase on beef. We're seeing it across the board, though, on all of the products that we buy. Even though this was a virus preparation video, it still gives you an idea about items that you should have in your prep inventory. And then we're starting to see shortages. Anybody that thinks that there's not shortages now, your area might not experience it. However, there are areas that are. We're experiencing a chicken shortage, a pork shortage, a ham shortage. Well, pork is ham. I'm sorry. But when I said it, I was thinking pork ribs from one restaurant that I'm friends with. And then ham, even some places like Domino's is getting limited on how much chicken wings they can buy, how much ham they can buy. So I'm hearing this from different people that I actually know, because I like to kind of confirm stories. Not just, you read an article. I don't want to just go with it. I like to second guess stuff. You guys know I do a lot of homesteading. I do have chickens also, 4 eggs. I've thought about getting rid of them. I haven't gotten to the point where I can yet, just because I don't want to get rid of them and then right after something major happens. But I do have a lot of incubation stuff. That's why I have the Farm Innovators playlist. So definitely check out some of our videos if you haven't already. And with that being said, let's take a quick look and see what is going on in silver. So silver going down today. We did go down to 23.90 roughly. It actually dipped a little bit lower, but then it tried coming back, and then it fizzled down again. Later in the month, we've talked about this, is usually when it comes down anyway. So tomorrow being the first of the month, we could start to see a rise now again. A lot of contracts settle on the first. So therefore, it is a lot of incentive to have silver and gold at a lower price on the first of the month. And then all of a sudden, we see the takeoff. It's not the lowest it's been in a little while. We actually saw it go down to 23 or 29.90. I'm sorry, 22.90. It's still almost 24. If that's the lowest that it beats down to, that's not a devastating amount. I know in the short run it looks bad. I mean, it looks, you're down $1.63, down 6% in the last 30 days. You're down 10% in the last 6 months, down 15% in the last year. However, take a look at what it was this time last year. Obviously, it was a lot higher. We had the mines shutting down. We had a lot of stuff going on. Even oil was down. Everything was pretty well priced a lot lower. So once that happened, silver obviously went up because the demand was there. People were getting worried. Right now, people have not really started getting worried enough, I don't believe, to drive silver and gold to any high levels, like absorbently high. Even though if you had invested in silver 5 years ago, you're up 28% on everything you've put in. So this is where the first thing that I'm going to mention about tonight's show is we talked about having a kind of an emergency fund. If you put your emergency fund in the bank 5 years ago and said, if something bad happens, I'll have it. If let's say you put in $10,000 in your emergency fund, one guy put it in cash. Another guy said, you know what, I'm just going to buy precious metals with it. I'm going to buy silver in this case 5 years ago, $10,000 worth. Depending on his premiums, which he still would have beaten the premiums because back then your premiums were only roughly under $1 per coin. I've seen them as low as 60, 49 cents, 59, 69, that type of stuff. But you'd be up 27% on that investment, 28% because it's 27.98. So you're talking 28%. So your 10,000 would actually be up to 12,800 right now. So that's something interesting to think about. Now, the other guy that put it in cash, he would only have $10,000 still. And your buying power on that $10,000 is severely getting depleted because we're seeing all the prices on everything go up. A lot of people just don't really understand that yet. That's the key thing that the banks do, the big banks, central banks, they hold gold. They hold silver. Some people are like, they don't hold silver. Some central banks do buy silver. They do hold it. Gold is the main one, though. I will say that. So with that being said, jumping in to take a look at what gold prices are at. Gold prices right now, today, ended the day at $1,812 roughly, $1,812. Again, over the last 30 days, you're down 0.12%. So keep in mind that's not even a percent, so I'm not worried about that. That's a small amount. Now, over the 6 months, the most current 6 months, you do have a 4.5% increase. Now, that's better than any bank's going to get you. That's better than having cash in the bank for your emergency fund as opposed to you have some gold coins sitting there. We've done a video before where I showed you guys kind of how easy it is to sell your silver. Another friend of mine who has a YouTube channel, it is on gaming. He followed me. He got in some silver. Something came up. He wanted to sell some of it, and he literally was like, "Hey, can you help me out?" I said, "Yeah, I'll help you out. I'll pay you spot for everything." I think that's acceptable. He said he's happy. He bought it at $16 an ounce. Somebody bought it at $15. He said, "And you're paying me $26." He said, "I'm more than happy." Spot to me is you're not going to have a hard time getting spot for your silver. That's something I permanently believe in. I don't believe there's any excuse for anybody to sell their silver under spot unless they just are not willing to put the time in. Obviously, if you put your time in, you're going to get a better deal because you're going to put a little time looking around. Little time does not mean, oh, I got to wait months to sell it. It's not like a house. Although houses right now aren't selling in months. They're selling in like weeks and days. Now, if you held silver for the last year, 12 months, literally, you would be down 8%. However, there again, over a 5-year, you're talking 38%. So now, if we take a look at that same scenario that I gave you earlier where you had two people, one of them put $10,000 emergency fund into gold, and then the other one just put it in cash in the bank, that gold is actually up 38.5%. So your $10,000 that you put in gold 5 years ago would actually be at $13,800, $850 to be exact, whereas the other guy would still just have the 10,000. Now, I know some people say, well, our money's getting eaten alive, and it is. It really is. We're paying more in everything we buy. Gold, silver, in general, the majority of the time, it's not going to make you rich. What it's going to do is keep up with the inflation. If everything starts coming down in price, I would not be surprised to see gold and silver come down in price. However, in times of war, in times of severe inflation, big money will start moving to gold and silver. We've seen it in the 80s. We've seen it in 2008. And I think we're going to see it again pretty soon. When that happens, when all the money starts pulling out of the stock market and moving into precious metals, that's when you essentially have an opportunity to get rich. Because in some cases, prices aren't moving up as fast as gold and silver is going up. That's where you actually can capitalize on some of this, in my personal opinion. We're going to jump in because we just kind of mentioned on emergency funds. So most experts, this was something I asked Google first to get the starting point of the conversation. Most experts, I said, how much is a good amount to have for emergencies? Most experts believe you should have enough money for an emergency fund to cover at least 3 to 6 months. Now, a lot of people are not going to have 3 to 6 months. Think about 3 to 6 months, your pay times 3 months. So not many people are going to have that in savings. If you are a stacker, though, I don't think that's unbelievable to have that. And the reason I don't think that's unbelievable to have that is because generally stackers stack a little at a time. They buy, $50 a month, $100 a month, whatever, and they do it religiously. They do it regularly. Some months they get a bonus. Maybe they buy a little bit more. I was talking to someone the other day, probably about a month ago. They said, hey, you're not buying right? And I said, I'm not buying any kind of precious metals right now, but I'm still putting the money aside to buy when the deal comes up. Eventually a deal will arise. It looked like an opportunity came up for a really good deal. I will be doing a couple package openings. I ended up putting a little bit into it. I asked another person, and the person said, I'm going to wait now. If you don't have the willpower, say, to buy regularly or put your money aside when, let's say you have it this month, but you're like, I don't like the deals, it's probably not recommended to skip months. If you are a slow stacker, stack regularly. Unfortunately, you're going to hit some highs, you're going to hit some lows, but hopefully you're going to dollar cost average, and you're going to be all right. If you're not the type of person that can save your money for the next month, for when the deal does come in, a good deal, you might be better off just to buy. However, if you are dedicated enough to save the money, put the money aside for that emergency, for when the deals come up, whatever, then go ahead and skip months that it looks like it's going to come down. Like I said, silver has been taking a beating more recently. We can see that in the 30-day chart. We can see that in the 3-month chart. But at the end of the day, I think, it's going to pop. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, so this is just my opinion on it. But back to the 3 to 6 months. As you scroll through, a common answer, these are common questions that people have asked. How much should you have in your emergency fund? So this is looking for... this person, I think when they asked this, they were looking for a dollar amount. However, they got, again, a 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses. So you take your monthly expenses, you should have 3 to 6 months. But the thing is, when you look at that, you also need to keep in mind, if you're not going to work, you may not really need that gas expense every week because, hopefully you're not out joyriding. If you spend a little money on fun, who doesn't like to go to the movies at least one day a week or a couple days a month? You're probably not going to be going to the movies. So, certain things, obviously necessities. You're going to need water. You're going to need power. You're going to need a house payment. Be prepared for that. But a lot of people, they're not prepared for when this stuff comes up. Question came up, is $15,000 enough for an emergency fund? My opinion, that's going to depend on someone's pay. Let's see here. Should be saving 6 months worth of income. You should have $15,000 squirreled away. Every case is going to be different. If you're a younger person, you're working at McDonald's, $15,000 is going to sound like a crazy amount of number to have. Especially, maybe if you're living at home with your parents or whatever the case may be. But, who knows? I think if the economy starts to tank, you're going to have a lot of multi-generational homes. You'll have multi-generations move back in. You'll have kids move back in with their parents. You'll have grandparents maybe sell their house, take the money, and move in with their kids. But the thing to consider is, there again, who wants to sell if the market is at a downturn? If the economy goes down, stocks go down, who wants to sell their stocks at that point? Just like who would want to sell their house at that point. So you could end up not really making out. If you can't sell your house, I've actually seen that in 2008 where a family, basically the kids were moving back in with the parents and they wanted to sell the house. And she was extremely scared that the mom was going to have to foot the bill for her house and her kids' house to prevent it from getting taken away. I ended up going to them at that point, and that was one of the houses that I actually bought. And it benefited me. I got a good deal on it. I knew the economy wasn't going to stay down forever, but there's no telling what could happen. I mean, you look at the Great Depression, it lasted a while. Let's see, is $100,000 good for an emergency fund? Experts still say 3 to 6 months. However, if you've got $100,000 squirreled away, I can't imagine someone having a rough time unless you are just crazy with your money. $100,000 is going to go a long way. You might have to really buckle down if you are one of these people that you're making big bucks and you're just spending it like crazy. However, it's something to think about. But all the answers are coming back to a 3 to 6 months. But 3 to 6 months emergency fund does not mean cash. It can also mean precious metals. One of the common things that I used to hear was, I don't want to waste my money. You waste your money on coins. Well, it's not really wasting if you can turn around and sell it right off the bat and get your money back. Generally, gold and silver doesn't go down. I mean, short runs it might, but not long runs in general. One specific purchase that I made was someone had bought, this was when I was newer or fairly newer to collecting. A collector had bought in 10 10th ounce American Silver Eagles at spot price from U.S. Money Reserve. A deal that we've talked about, but we didn't talk about it at $990 spot. So I talked to the guy. It was actually a pawn shop. He took them in, and we went back and forth. I said, they're just junk bullion. I mean, there's nothing special about them. Yeah, it's great. You got the paperwork, who they came from. It's great. They're great coins. They're in nice shape. But at the end of the day, they're just 10th ounce bullion coins. Melt price right now is $990. And I said, I'll give you $1,000. Texas is a no tax state on gold and silver. I essentially paid $90 a coin for those coins. $95, maybe $100 by the time we negotiated out, because I think it came out to $1,000. So $100 a coin. Well, clearly anybody that knows precious metals knows a 10th ounce gold eagle at $100 is a steal today. Back then, it was something that I essentially got criticized for. Why would you spend $1,000 on 10 coins? People don't really understand the value of precious metals. And they don't understand. I mean, just because the American public don't want it, countries around the world are waking up to it. China, which is the biggest, most populated country in the world, they understand that. They buy gold and silver because they mostly gold. Small amounts of it. They've already woken up. India passes it on for wedding gifts. They pass on jewelry. They don't pass on plastic junk, or I'll say glass junk, you know, I mean, whatever, silverware, fake silverware, might I say, you know, dish sets, curtains, that type of stuff. You know, they pass on jewelry, gold and silver, bullion, you know, because they recognize that that's the security of the family. I mean, the majority of marriages nowadays, money is a number one arguer. Everybody argues about money. If you look up statistics on what ruin marriages, a lot of it comes down to money. The next is communication. However, it's interesting that money is number one. And a lot of it has to do with, they don't teach you about money. I mean, nobody is going to go, you're never going to go to school, college even, high school, any of them schools, and they're going to talk to you about the importance of gold and silver, and that fiat currency, US dollars, are just that. They're fiat currency. I mean, they're just a tool. It's like a hammer to build something. You want the end result. You don't want the tool. You want the end result. Moving on to the next question that I was kind of looking at. This I think is a slight bias. This is going to be a higher end. What percent should we be diversified into precious metals? This specific one, U.S. Money Reserve suggested 10 to 20% of your net worth. Now, 10 to 20% is a good answer. It's a good, safe answer. However, majority of analysts are not going to tell you 10 or 20%. They're going to tell you 5. It's rare that you see even 10. They want you to put your money in the stock market, continue to grow that big bubble. But I think 10 to 20% is a great number to tell people. It's a great number to shoot for. It is a goal. You work your way up to it. Some people are holding a lot more than 10 or 20% of their net worth. However, where do you draw the line? What percent of my portfolio should be in precious metals? Take a look at a couple of these questions. More than 5 to 10%. So that's going to be a common answer. It has been asked too. Another question I was looking at: what ratio on gold and silver should I buy? This I found interesting. They said 2/3. So 66% of your investment should be in gold and 33% should be in silver. Now, gold and silver both have some similar properties, in my opinion. Some that they go against each other. So, for one, they are both a hedge against inflation. Generally, when everything goes up, gold and silver goes up. Now, one thing to note, that banks have always wanted gold. Gold is the primary thing that banks want. Silver, you have a lot of industrial uses. So you could, in the short run, like we seen in the beginning of the virus days, silver dropped down to $11. Some people said it was manipulated. To a certain portion, there might have been some manipulation there. It most of the time is being manipulated down, but a lot of that could have been demand went down. People weren't shopping, so they weren't making products, which also tanks the value of silver. But right now, we're having shortages of products across the board, and essentially they just can't keep them in stock. As soon as the stuff hits the shelf, it sells out. So it would lead me to believe that silver should be going up a lot more than it is right now, but we're not really seeing that. And that is one of the things why I firmly believe that silver is manipulated. We've done videos before about the silver manipulation. It's been proven. Companies have ended up, JP Morgan got fined billions of dollars for manipulation. So it has been proven, but there again, some companies can just pay, eat the fine, and go on business as usual. It's not going to make a difference to them. I'll give you a scenario some people might have heard about, where companies were dumping toxins in the ocean. They would go out there, they'd get their fine for $25,000 or $50,000, and they would just go out the next day because they made more money disposing of the toxins than the fine. So, I mean, it's simple business math. You're in business, you dispose of it, you make $500,000 and you take a $100,000 fine. Who cares? You're still up $400,000. The same thing when it comes to precious metals manipulation. So moving on real quick, since I did want to check what was going on, not really part of the topic tonight, the discussion. I just kind of wanted to wrap up, get back to the comments. Please, if you're watching this show, take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button, help the channel out. I do like to check what's going on in the Dow Jones live and share the numbers. Same with the NASDAQ, same with the cryptos. The Dow Jones coming in at 35,360, down only 39 points, right around 0.1%. Not anything to really be worried about. We're seeing a lot of kind of flat. Some people are worried about tapering, and if they start tapering, it's going to hurt the stock market. Some people realize they're not going to taper. They can't taper because they don't want to destroy the stock market. So with that being said, we've kind of been having the stock market kind of flat, as you can see, over a 5-day, even over a 1 month. You're having pretty well, not seeing this huge, like what we've been seeing, this straight up. I'm going to say, when in doubt, zoom out and look. I mean, you can clearly see it's been getting crazy. Well, now we're starting to see a flattening of things. And I would be curious almost, I may actually look at it, in 2008, did we start seeing a flattening out effect just before the big drop? Now, I'm not saying the stock market is about to drop. I do believe personally that we are due for a drop in the stock market. What they blame that on could be a number of things. With all the new breakthroughs, and what I mean by breakthrough, a lot of people that have been getting the big shot, we're seeing breakthroughs now coming in. Cases where essentially people have passed away now and they've gotten it, and a lot of cases where they've been hospitalized and they've gotten it. I'm not doing this video tonight to make a stand one way or the other. However, I do state the facts that if something happens and this virus continues to spread, the economy could essentially hit a snag and we see a drop. They're not financial information, just something that I'm putting out, my thoughts, and everybody can take a minute and, do some research. Look this up. I urge people to spend a little time. No one is going to care more about your money than you. I can guarantee you that 100%. At the end of the day, a lot of times when people invest your money, they want their commission. They're out for their commission. They don't care whether you win or lose in the stock market. They don't care as long as they make money. Taking a quick look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ coming in down 0.04%. So we're talking minuscule, 6 points out of 15,259. A really stable day. We did see a big drop in the beginning of the day, and then we saw it come back up. Moving on to the cryptos. I find cryptos pretty interesting because we had a mixed day. So you had some go up, some go down. The one I do like to look at is the big Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one that everybody looks at. When Bitcoin is on fire, it usually pulls a lot of other stuff up with it. When Bitcoin goes down, it tends to take a lot of stuff down with it. But Bitcoin coming in at 47,172. We did see Bitcoin climb to 50, but then it met a lot of resistance at the 50,000 mark. Once it hit 50,000, it came back down. Now, does that mean it's over for Bitcoin? I don't think it's over for Bitcoin. I would be very cautious. Bitcoin is not gold. At the end of the day, you can't take a Bitcoin, and if everybody decided they didn't want Bitcoin tomorrow, there's no use for Bitcoin at that point. Whereas precious metals, if everybody decided tomorrow, I don't want gold or silver, there's still use for it. There's use for it in everyday items, your cell phones, your computers, your chips, your cars, your any kind of electronics. Therefore, even if everybody dislikes gold and silver, it doesn't matter. We still need it. Bitcoin, if everybody decided tomorrow we don't want Bitcoin, we don't need it. Do we need the blockchain? The blockchain, I believe, is technology that's going to be here to stay. But Bitcoin does not necessarily have to be here to stay. Now, that's something, an argument that a lot of people don't have answers for yet. They will say, oh, no, it's proof of work or it's the money of the future, and all that is good. It's great that it was proof of work, but once the proof of work is done, it's like a receipt. What do you do with it? The only reason it has value is because people still want it. It's something that you could potentially lose. There's a lot of ways to lose it. I'm not going to get too much into that because someone can make the argument there's ways you can lose gold or silver. My safety deposit box could get robbed tonight. I mean, you never know what could happen. The bank could collapse and lock everybody's boxes up, and then I got to fight to get it. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios, and some people might say, well, that's because you hold yours at a safety deposit box. What you should do is keep it at your house. I mean, the same thing can be said at your house. If you have it at your house, someone could break in, take it when you're not home. You never know what scenarios could happen. A hurricane could wipe it away. I mean, there's a million answers for everything. So I won't get into you could lose your Bitcoin, but I will stand fast on my argument that Bitcoin essentially has no value when people say they don't want it. And that could happen at some point, and we could just see it just plummet. if all of a sudden people say I want Ethereum over Bitcoin, then all of a sudden Ethereum is the new number one. Moving back over to the discussion, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button. I do thank you guys for all the great comments. It keeps us going. It gives us stuff to talk about. RDG, how's it going tonight? I hope you're having a great night, RDG. K-Pax, how's it going tonight? I hope you're having a great night. Let's see who else popped in. John, great to see you, John. Hope you're having a great night. So let's see here. Okay. I was just looking for where I was on the comments. Spam and beans. Yeah, spam goes great with a lot of things when it comes to prepping. It is a staple item that spam, canned chicken, and Vienna sausages are something, in my opinion, you should have. I can do canned chicken. I can make some amazing recipes that people have just loved. They went crazy and they'll ask me, hey, can you make me up some of that? I do a buffalo chicken ranch dip with canned chicken, and it comes out great. Let's see here. Scrolling through the comments. I freeze it first and then in buckets. Freeze it first. They say if you freeze it first, you will kill any kind of bugs in the rice. And I cycle out and replenish as needed. That's a good way to look at it. So you're doing a great job rotating your inventory and taking extra precautions. I am big on rotation of food, especially if you're going to keep extra on hand. You have got to keep it rotated. Let's see, Adam Stacks. You guys got to eat healthier while you can. Save the junk food for the apocalypse. And eat healthy and maintain a healthy lifestyle. The only problem with that, yes, healthy lifestyles are important. I'm not the healthiest person. However, you also need to make sure that you know how to use the items you got. There will be some people, I believe, in a devastating disaster where the economy just, if we went into a Great Depression, there's going to be people that have the stuff they need right there in their house, and they're not going to know how to use it. I'll give you an example. Hurricane Harvey came. I'm right here at ground zero for Hurricane Harvey. I said, I'm not worried about it. I'm staying home. I wrote it out. We got nailed. It got Category 1, Category 2. As it got closer, everybody's evacuated. Category 3, Category 4. I'm like, oh boy, what did I get into? But I made it through the hurricane. The next morning, nobody had power. I drove around, power lines down, hundreds of poles are down. There was no way we were getting power anytime soon. But I had a backup generator. Never used it, never started it. Didn't know how to start it. Didn't have oil for it. I had gas, but not nearly enough to last long term. I had like 20 gallons of gas. I had to go track down oil before I could even get it running. That's an example of you need to be prepared with what you have. If you never practice, you never use it. I personally run drills where I might go a week with just using food that's in my house. And when I say that, I mean using prep food. I might eat some MREs. I might see what I can make with some canned goods. I pretend that I'm in that scenario. I limit my water usage as best I can. I limit my power usage. I don't break out my generator and go all out. But, you know, you can still prepare. Make sure you periodically check that stuff, your prep stuff. Scrolling through, do you have llama beans? T. Hannibal Lecter said they go well together. I don't. In fact, up until recently, I'd never heard of even 15 bean soup. I was talking to New Marshall in town about it, and he's like, you've never heard of 15 bean soup? I said, no, what is it? Do you buy 15 bags of beans and just mix them up, whatever? He goes, no, it comes in a bag with 15 different kinds of beans. I actually added some of that in my prep. So I guess in some ways I do have llama beans. Pinto beans is a big one that I have a lot of. Some canned beans and different stuff. Can't forget to stack lead. Uh, Definitely security is an issue. Make sure you're prepared. Another prime example, Hurricane Harvey. This scenario that I use a lot when it comes to prepping is Hurricane Harvey. It's not an end of the world scenario, but it was a temporary major disaster. People were looting. People were breaking into people's houses. They were breaking into stores. I felt pretty secure because I knew I had a sidearm. I also had a rifle, and I wasn't worried about it. However, if you don't have any kind of protection, each area is going to be a little different. I know some people, depending on where they live in the world, some people can't have that type of protection. But there's a lot of alternatives that you can use to that. But what good is a firearm if you don't have any lead to put with it? And that I have seen issues with that, where people maybe bought a firearm in one box of lead and then never really thought about it because they never really took it out of the box or anything. And then when they needed it, and they're like, the first thing you want to do is shoot a little bit so you can sight your scope. They can't do that because they don't have any extra lead. And second thing is you want to shoot a little bit so you at least know how to use it. It would be awful to, have that and you get people breaking. Stream has disconnected. It will reconnect within a second. Okay, so I guess I did temporarily lose my spot. I apologize for that. But yeah, so don't just, that's why it's a fine line. But lead is an important thing. Keep the chickens. A lot of people have said keep the chickens. I'm just disappointed because I spend a lot on their food and I'm not getting a whole lot of eggs right now. Limits on paper towels and toilet paper and water at my local Costco. 1 per person for paper towels, toilet paper, and 5 cases of water. So there again, if you're waiting until the last minute to get this stuff, you're going to picture a major outbreak of the virus. Picture it just spreading rapidly. And every time you go to the store, you're allowed to get 1 thing of toilet paper, 1 thing of paper towels. 5 cases of water. That's 5 cases of water. If you go to Cisco, every time you go to Costco, you get 5 cases of water. You'll probably be all right. I like to stock up on it when there's not issues. I'd really like to stock up when stuff's on sale. Prime example, today I went to my HEB because I picked up a couple ribeyes, and I said I'm just going to buy fresh. I'm not going to take my the one that are in my freezer packed up. I said, airtight. I'm just going to buy a couple. So I went, I bought a couple. I always check the clearance section. Clearance sections at grocery stores are awesome, in my opinion. They had boxes of pancake mix for $1. Big boxes. I'll take 2 or 3 of them. They had etouffee. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Etouffee. Goes great with rice. If you have some seafood, it goes great with seafood. But literally what was great about it is there was 74 cents a pack because they discontinued the item. It's a great item. It's a powder. It's going to keep for a long time. If you put it in a jar, you don't even have to really put it in a jar. You can put it in a Mylar bag and put like 5 or 6 of them. When you break them out, they keep for a long time. Anything that's not liquid is going to keep. So that's a great example. Scrolling down, let's see here. Are they doing any limitations in your area? Our area, it's mostly just chicken and ham. Tsquare, keep the chickens. You could be selling eggs for more. I'm not getting enough eggs right now. I know someone talked to me about possibly checking them for worms, giving them a dewormer. Somebody said if you do get, your chickens do get worms, you will lose egg production drastically. I am drastically down on eggs. You'll be selling eggs for more. 40%, not American Silver Eagles. Yeah, I use my 40%ers for trade a lot. I trade a lot of 40%ers. A lot of people like me that are new to stacking. My opinion, it's a great way. I can tell people, you can get the Eagles, but you look at the premiums. If you're a kid or you're starting out on stacking, 40 percenters, in my opinion, is a great item stack. I've got a lot of 40 percenters. I love 40 percenters. I will never speak bad about a 40 percenter. Let's see, Michael C. Item stacks, but they have all been low on bottled water, so I have doubled my bottled water supply on hand. I've actually upped my bottled water supply right now. A lot of that has to do with I'm in hurricane season. I went to the grocery store the other day just before, was it Irene hit New Orleans. There was talk that it could have hit Corpus Christi. I went to the grocery store and there was no water. I mean, I had mine, but there was none. And I asked them, I said, what's up with all the water? Oh, it all got bought out because there was rumors that it was going to come to Corpus Christi. Okay, cool. You know, at the end of the day, what do you think's going to happen? When something bad happens, items sell out. And then when it comes in, they're going to put limitations on it. You're going to have to be going to the store every day of the week to get the stuff that you need for your family. So don't be in that case. Adam Stacks, I got 8 cases in my garage. If you have extreme heat in your garage, I would probably try to find a closet or something to put them in. You don't want to keep them in extreme heat, though, in my opinion, Adam. Most of the time they are in plastic bottles, so that plastic will leach out, especially if it's in the sun. I would recommend more keeping them in a spare room. Scrolling down through the comments, let's see. Chris, did you open your fandom pack? Let's see, scrolling through. Let's see, what fandom pack? Yep. I was wondering that too. I'm guessing fandom pack is probably a Top Shots pack. They sent out a free pack. Check your packs page on NBA Top Shot, Chris. Let's see. Scrolling through the comments. When everything crashes, some will be forced to sell. I think when everything crashes, yeah, you're going to see a lot of people be forced to sell their precious metals because they weren't prepared for food. They weren't prepared in all the areas. If the stock market crashes and you have your bills in check and you have, you know, a small amount of money saved up, you should be okay. However, if you don't have food and food prices skyrocket and you can't afford it, then that's where the problems will come in, and people will be forced to sell. The absolute last thing I would probably want to sell would be my gold, any gold coins that I have squirreled away. But in some cases, people would have to sell. RDG, hope you and your family are doing great. I see. How's everything going, RDG? It's been a while. Yeah, it has been a while. Hopefully, RDG, everything's going well for you. It really is great to see you back in the stream. I thank everybody for popping in, hitting that thumbs up button. The thumbs up really do help out the stream. I can't say that enough. So thank you for that. Now, one thing that's interesting, I'm hoping I'm still live. It says that I'm on 7 minutes. I don't know what that means, that I've only been on 7 minutes. I just glanced up there. I'm showing, I see some crabs, which can only mean one person in the room. International Stacker from the Crab Nation. What's up, International Stacker? I kind of lost my spot, so I just kind of scrolled down real quick, see what was going on, see if I was live. Because it says I've only been live for 7 minutes. I think I might have gotten bumped off for a little bit. Paul, how's it going tonight? International Stacker. Have a super channel like that, stop in here. Thank you so much. Let's see. Just realized Bitcoin and cryptos need silver and gold. There would be computers, processors to hold it. Yeah, that's a big aspect. That's why I say, you know, gold and silver is not going away. Anybody that says, oh no, Bitcoin's the money of the future, gold and silver is going to go by the wayside, there's no way possible. The only thing they may try to do, we could see a gold confiscation. We've seen it before. They could do it again, but a lot of people would say they wouldn't waste their time because really what % of people have it? It's so small. I don't think they would even bother. I think they're better off just to keep it out there, and that way, essentially, politicians can continue to buy it up. And don't think for a minute politicians don't buy it up. They're prepared. If you think that tax-free law was for us, the stacking community, no. That tax-free law was for politicians mostly. Hope Lord Humongous finds his pink fluffy handcuff soon. Key soon. Scrolling through. Tsquare going to come to the bottom of the comments and go crazy and then get upset that he was 5 minutes late and went up in chat too early. That's a possibility. I lost something. I lost some comments. I know I did. We've gotten very strict with our laws here on security, weapons. I can't show them. They don't. Friday, YouTube doesn't want us showing that type of stuff on YouTube. It's kind of a big no-no. It has gotten some channels in trouble. However, some understand they're just demonetized. So I can't show them. I have a mix of firearms in my collection. Being retired military, obviously, that makes a big difference of what people will have. However, a small sidearm and some sort of rifle, and I think the average person will be okay. But there's other things if you're in an area that you don't have access to that. And it's tough. It's tough when people are in situations where they're not allowed to have that. But it does happen. Scrolling through, let's see. Water is amazingly, you cannot make coffee without it. Yeah, water is going to be probably the most important prep item. Everybody knows water is number one. You're not going to go too long without water if you don't have water. Keep in mind, though, there's a lot of runarounds on water where you can, don't throw stuff away. Don't waste anything. In a hypothetically, in an apocalypse scenario, in a depression scenario, the first thing is going to be don't waste stuff. By wasting, I mean, don't drain a can of corn and dump all that liquid out. At that point, use it. Use it in soup. Use it in something. But don't be wasteful. Let's see. Your butt got a little tighter. I'm guessing that means it got a little tighter on betting T-coins. Not hitting much tonight, I'm guessing. The humidity will tarnish and milk spot your silver. Put in a cool, dry place. Also have a humidifier. That's some great information, Jimmy. Some stuff I don't worry about. My 40%ers, I don't worry about keeping them in a cool, dry place because they're just 40% silver. Even my 90% coins, I don't worry about. Collectible coins, yes. However, a lot of my collectible coins are in, I was looking to see if I had anything around me, are basically in PSA graded slabs. A lot of my collectibles stuff I have traded off because it's about ounce count. It's about ounce count for me. But obviously, I'm never going to, have no collectibles. Because at the end of the day, if this economy keeps going, if it goes in an up inflation scenario, even collectibles will go up in price. So they won't confiscate the big boys' gold, the maggots. I don't think they will either. It's just something that, it is a scenario that you never know what could happen. I don't think they would because not many people have gold. Back when they did the confiscation, everybody had gold coins in their house. Millions and millions and millions of gold coins, even if it was just one $50 ounce. That would be like them saying, well, I don't think it could happen, but it's something to be mindful of. Let's see. Too small for Hornets. They going up in smoke. Scrolling through. Would hurt. Let's see here. 4-ounce dish of soap and a half-gallon of gas. Pour then. Let's see. I'm not sure what that was referring. I don't want to say that whole comment. Fill the bathtub with water. Yeah. One of the things I know during emergencies, if you know an emergency is about ready to happen, like a hurricane, first thing, fill your bathtubs, fill your sinks. Make sure your toilets are full, flushed. Everything's, make sure you have as much water on hand if you know something is about ready to happen. Scenario of something happening could be as simple as them saying, hey, we're going to be shutting off city utilities for one day to do maintenance on everything. That is a prime example of you never know what could happen. Stock up. Fill up. Be prepared. Whatever happens, you want to be ready. Continuing on. I guess we're at the end of the comments, so I'm going to wrap up. The only thing I don't know what happened, I don't know if my show, if it got cut, because it says I've only been on for 14 minutes. I know I've been on for more than 14 minutes. I don't know if everybody got booted and had to get on. Please let me know in the comments if you know what happened. I kind of like them to stay together, but that's bumming because I actually started out the show with a good plan on what I was going to do, and then I was going to go back, put a thumbnail, and rename it. But that's it, I guess. Let's see here. So with that being said, T, you missed the original comment. I had ground bees and had to burn them out. 2 stung me, but I lit. Were they actual honeybees, or were they? I would try to relocate if you have an opportunity to relocate them. Beehives are awesome. I love beehives. Some people are really scared of them. If they're hornets or wasps, then oh well. Honeybees, I want to get a couple honey hives. That's one of the things I want to do. One of my neighbors has a bunch of honey hives. And, he's got a warning sign on the property so people don't go sniffing around where they don't belong. It was just a glitch. We did not get booted. Awesome. So I'm guessing then this will all be under one episode. That's cool. So that's good to know then. So that way I can still edit the thumbnail later and the title and try to make it out to, that way. With that being said, we are going to wrap up the show. I thank everybody for watching. It was really great seeing y'all. I will see you again on Thursday night. Please, if you haven't hit that thumbs up button, help us out. Hit that thumbs up button. I thank you guys to all the people that stopped in tonight. I know we had a lot of people that haven't been on in a little while that did stop in. Could be because I was running a little late tonight. It was after 8 o'clock, so no matter where in the country you are, you're probably off work by now. So thank you, everybody, for that. I have too many beehives here. Kind of ad hoc scenario. I love beehives. I really do. My dad has 2 huge beehives. We're losing honeybees in New York because of all the pesticides, chemicals being sprayed. That's a huge problem, I think, all over the world. That's why it's important to have bees, to help bees, and what they produce will be around forever. There's literally been, out of the pyramids, they found honey, and that honey was like the day they put it in there. It was just as good. They tested it. It was edible. So, and it's essentially free. They do the work for you. So with that being said, you guys all have a great night. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. I hope everybody hit that thumbs up button. Thank you all for stopping in. Adam Stacks, you have a great night. Friday, you have a great night. Lincoln DMZ, you have a great night. John Mastrom, you have a great night. Michael C., you have a great night. Bulltide, you have a great night. Chris B., you have a great night. John Mastrom, you have a great night. Paul S., you have a great night. Bumblebee, you have a great night. RDG4U2C, have a great night. Lincoln DMZ, you have a great night. International Stacker, you have a great night. Let's see who else is active right now. K-Pax, you have a great night. If I didn't say your name, go ahead and leave a comment so I will give you a shout out. Kellen L., you have a great night. Debbie Singleton, you have a great night. I thank everybody for stopping in. DGL3, you have a great night. Scott, you have a great night. If I missed you, go ahead and give a shout out. So put a comment, and I'll make sure you get a shout out. So with that being said, thank you everybody for watching. And like I said, I will see you again Thursday night. And we'll see what happens. And we might have to do some prep videos since obviously prep is important right now with everything going on. A lot of people like to know how to get into that stuff. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys all again Thursday night. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.